Isn't it like the Vatican has a telescope named Satan or something like that?
Oh, well, the Vatican also funded Rocket Man, Elton John, who's B Rabbit's handler, Eminem's B Rabbit, but they also funded Men in Black too. And they have a lot of studies on what to do when they tell people that there's aliens. So this is the thing, is that if you tell people there's aliens, it's wiping out thousands of years of belief systems. This is why they're pushing mushrooms and psychedelics, because people are going to be tripping on their cell phone, which will be communicating with the AI, which could be LAM for all we know. And that AI will be leading them into a shamanic spiritual journey. And through all the shock therapy of shocking events, the dams flooding and all these crazy events, puts us in a state of fear, of stress, where we become apathetic. Apathetic is whatever, I do what I want. Cartman, whatever, I do what I want. That's a good example of apathy. And that's where people are. We got thousands of people watching right now. Make sure you smash the like button. We care about these topics, but honestly, have you talked to anybody out and about deeply about these topics? It's very hard because they don't care.
Yeah, no, I do know a lot of people who don't care, but I think it goes back to what William Shakespeare said, the world's a stage, every man and woman has their entrances and exits, and I think what they're doing real time is some sort of stagecraft, mind manipulation, mind altering. And then when you introduce, right, we know that during the Ala Mantra workings, 420, Crowley was part of the rituals that Crowley came into contact with Lamb. Okay, so we have the cannabis connection to Lamb, which is an extraterrestrial. We have all these shows that they're coming out with the mushrooms. Cannabis is being legalized throughout the United States. So what if it is like some sort of drug induced psychosis, almost sort of, and the potency of these substances, to speak cryptically a little bit, is not just like the regular stuff that you just grow out in the field. It's very strong stuff. I mean, it's not how it was back then as far as the potency. Some of these concentrates of the substances that you can inhale, they really put you out, bro. I mean, they can really have you hearing and seeing sounds and seeing different things. So again, it's to alter the perception. And I think that perception is a very important part, because when you enter different states of consciousness, I think that's when you're able to tap into these other realms. Because I do believe that when you intake these mushrooms, you do enter another reality, another dimension. I don't know if you've ever done it, Don. I'm sure you have, but you're in another place and you're in contact with something of a higher intelligence. Okay. And yes, drugs are bad. Don't do drugs.
Yeah, well, I grew up in Las Vegas, so I'm very aware of the effects of all these different substances. And we did a breakdown. So this Ala Mantra you're speaking of, 420, what is that? What's that connection? What is Ala Mantra and how is it connected to 420?
So that was the seance, for lack of a better term, that Crowley was doing. They were doing this operation. It was a ceremonial magician, so they do ceremonies to invoke these entities. And part of around 420 was when Crowley was doing, it was a series of ceremonies, and one of which led to the contact with Lamb. And it was, again, through around 420. But it wasn't just the one on 420, it was a series. It was various ceremonies that they did. And again, they were smoking hashish and probably doing other things too. I mean, it wasn't just that. Point being that when you alter the mind, you're able to see other things that you wouldn't otherwise be able to see.
Right. And I mean, so 420, we did the breakdown on that and the occult connections, how it stemmed from a 33 acre campus right here. Grateful Dead promoted it, Grateful Dead's connections to manufacturing LSD. And then you even got the alcohol connected to the CIA and very, very powerful families. And just looking through this PDF document that we did this podcast on, with the finger being cut, the blood, with Johnny Depp, he cut his finger, and John Podesta's fingers all cut up as well. And he's funding all these UFO documentaries as well. And he's the main guy for the Clintons.
Really?
Yeah. So there's this weird occult connection to the alien Lom, Aleister Crowley. Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's definitely there. And again, you can look into it yourself. Like I said, don't trust us up here, right? These talking heads. Go out there and actually do the research, because there's connections to be made now. Like I said, I think that this phenomenon, I think that there are extraterrestrials. Maybe they come from Hollow Earth. Maybe they come from I don't know where. But then there are things that I think that you can summon and bring forth into this reality that are artificial in creation. And maybe it's a sort of technology, right? It's a sort of tech that can be used. If we follow the Project Bluebeam lure, it's going to be used to exert power over populations. Because how many people who don't look into this sort of stuff are going to believe exactly what's being portrayed to them and put out into the media, right? I say defund the media.
Yes, yes. Well, the technology thing's interesting because all the Grammys, Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Rihanna, they're the Bose speakers. They show this sort of portal this year and last year. And it's the Cremaster logo that I showed right here in the beginning. And this goes into, so this is the Cremaster logo, and this guy dated Bjork. I'm going to remove it for a second because there's some stream I don't want to show because I want this to stay up on YouTube. But it looks very similar to Rihanna's Super Bowl, the Grammys. But it gets interesting because this goes into Sodomic portals, the anal probes and buttholes. So right here, Cremaster, this portal right there's the hex. I want to hear about Taylor Swift and the hexagram, but this is the butthole that they're traveling through in this, and this plays a huge role in art. Art showcases the new technology.